Hey, welcome to the Red Sea. My name is Jesse. Before you jump into that video, make sure you visit KoolAidMan100x.com to get custom ebooks and other things that's available on the website. Link will be in the description below. Also visit the NFLShop to get yourself some Kansas City's Chiefs gear and your own personal team gear as well. And also, all the other sponsors will be in the description below. Now back to Kool-Aid.
Yo, what's up, guys? This is your boy KoolAidMan100x. Welcome to the Red Sea. How you guys doing? What's going on? We're going to be jumping into the Ravens offensive playbook again. We're going to be looking at a formation called Gun Trey Open Strong. We're going to be looking at a play called Slot Fade. I thought this was an interesting play when I looked at it. Had amazing checkdowns, so I thought it was pretty cool. Trying to do a no adjustment. Been doing good so far with no adjustment, so in this formation here, I thought it was interesting because when we come on the slot fade, to run this play with no adjustments, you will have to identify your two hot routes, which I call my 5-to-1 theory. A lot of people don't know. I might come out with a video for that explaining that in the membership. So if y'all want to become a member, definitely come and get that. Might be promoting that a little later, my 5-to-1 theory, which is going to be our two checkdowns. So we have to identify our two checkdowns. What is our two checkdowns? To me, when I run this play, if I'm labbing a play and I want to actually use it, I try to look for my checkdowns, which is going to probably be triangle and X. The reason why I say triangle and X is my checkdowns because you got one coming underneath and you have one going the 5 yards. So, and coming underneath. So when I run this play here, he coming underneath that 5 yards. So I think that's adjustable, but what's scary about that play is that I'm seeing a defender not paying attention to this route. And if you pay attention, it's like he does 2 jab steps in it. So comes right underneath and he stops right underneath, which is, really good. And our next one is going to be triangle, which he cuts right underneath the field. So you see in this instant, he cuts right underneath the field. He gets that underneath type of pattern there. So we want to identify when to throw, when to take off, when he gets free, stuff like that. So I will have to practice and see because I know he's not always going to be there. So we have to identify for our third route. So we have one that's going to be a 50-50, which is triangle. A 100% is going to be X, and probably our third is going to be circle. So circle is probably going to be our safe, but we have to identify the zone. So that's the scary thing. So this is where it comes down to, like, do we trust circle to be there when we need that quick throw? So we want to test just quick throws to identify is how that defender is going to be playing, which is he a really good corner. So we have to identify, is he going to be there in he guarded 2 routes or whatever. So now we identify the slot fade. So do the slot fade be there or no? Do we have to wait? Yes, we have to wait for the slot fade to be open. The reason we have to wait for the slot fade to be open now, so now we identify our third. So circle is not our third, so the slot fade is. But we have to identify pressure, so we have to identify when he's open. So now he's paying attention to circle, so now we can actually fade to the sideline. Actually opens him up a little bit more better. So now his back is turned. We can pass inside and throw there. So now that we identify our routes, so now we have triangle, X, and R1. Now we identify who to throw to, who to get. Bam, we have that route there down pat. So now we have 3 players that we can throw to just in case. We wait on it. He's there. So now this is where it gets interesting. So this is where it called. I love these examples because now we have to identify trajectory. So trajectory. So this is where it gets interesting. So now we identify the slot fade actually works. It works. So now he's guarding it. So now we have to identify how do we throw this ball? Do we throw it inside? Do we throw it on a back shoulder? So now this is where the slot fade gets his strength from, is the trajectory of the quarterback. So now we have to identify, we have to throw back shoulder. Okay. So we can't throw bullets. So now we have to identify, okay, so do we throw top throw? And this is where it gets a little bit interesting because this is where lapping comes into play. So now we're like, okay, we can't throw, gutter ball. So we have to identify how to tap. It's weird because because by me using classic, I have to identify, okay, can I throw a bullet? Can I throw underneath? Can I do that? It's a little bit more of a tangent. So now we have to identify, okay, so a little tap inside, bam, we can actually go up for it. So now we know that our slot receiver can go up for it. So now we can probably play with this a little bit and see if we can just tap it on the side. So now we get an idea. So when we see that slot fade open, tap. So just like I said, we have our underneath, which is safe. So we got our safe throws. This is cool. Now, when that slot is open, now we understand it. Now we actually have a way to throw that slot a little bit more better. We can wait on that slot. So now we set up our blocking, blah, blah, blah. And we still got our underneath because they're keying down on it. So our two routes is going to be triangle and X in the slot. But that slot is going to be tricky because, you can't wait on it between pressures. So we have to key in on these two routes fast because if we don't, bam, we can get off very quickly. But if you're just waiting on that slot to be open, you can't because you have to wait for it to be open. And when you do, see where this instance come into play? That's what I'm saying. So we have to key in on what we have available for us. You see, we have to key in on what we have available for us. So to make this play work with no adjustments, it will be triangle and X and your slot will be last because you have to wait. And when that slot's there, you can throw it literally every time. And if that zone and man are not participating, you'll be able to play it a little bit more better. Now, don't get me wrong. This play can be adjusted. It can, but we're trying to identify how we can adjust. Now, the streak route is doable, but you will have to identify where to throw it, because sometimes that might happen. And in this instance where I don't understand this, just like I said before, if I'm throwing up top like that, and these throws are very interesting because if you do left stick up, he throws further, but if you do tap, he throws shorter but leave air under the ball. So, which brings to my conclusion, like, dang, should I do a bullet? And this is where it get interesting. So now we pump faking and stuff like that. And sometimes they actually come back to the field because he cuts inside. So when we're waiting on this streak route, we don't know. So when he comes down, now we really throw it out there. He already have a, bearing to throw deep. So just like I said, streaks and out routes in this game is deadly for the defense because he just, for some reason, they all can play the deep ball well. But none of them can play underneath well, which I will never understand that. None of the game, you can throw underneath the whole game. None of them can play it. And when I came up with my 5-1 there, I'm like, man, I don't even have to make an adjustments. If I identify the two checkdowns in the play off the two checkdowns, I can move down the field. Once I see, the actual plays, there's really nothing you can actually do to stop it, really. So in this instance, pretty much triangle and X is going to be basically the people I throw to the whole time. And unless you user it or stop it, but you can only user so many players at once. But once I identify the two that I need, I'm pretty much good. Then once you identify the two, this just opens up so much other stuff down the field, as you can see here. The slot wide open. This not that hard to figure out, guys. No adjustments. Back to the same route. No adjustments. We identified our two players to throw to, and no adjustments. None. So I hope you enjoyed this play. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I always say, I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one.